So hi, my name is Dirk. I'm from Razorfish. I'm actually not quite surprised that nobody knows of you what Razorfish is. We are an agency and we're working in the space, very kind of specialized field of helping kind of old school analog companies switch to the digital world, kind of business transformation. And what I want to do today is kind of talk about what we do in this space where we kind of live between, as a kind of go-between technology and design and business, and kind of how that transforms and what maybe will be there in the future and what kind of how you can assess how the future will play out. A vision is something that isn't real, but we all understand what it is, right? It's part of our cultural heritage in a way. It could be something that we see in movies, see in books. It's an idea that we understand. So one thing that, as an example, would be those tablets we had since the 70s in Star Trek, which we used, which was their kind of idea of a tablet. And what you now can do now is you can check in the past for weak or strong signals and visions and try to predict the future from there. So if we put both together and say, okay, if we look at Star Trek and if we look at the Apple Newton, you might not say it's obvious that something like the iPad happened, but you can kind of predict how it would play out if you look at both. That said, you have to be very careful if you look at that. Not every kind of vision that we share, not everything that we hear all the time and that we see all the time makes sense, like this connected fridge. And I will go a bit later on why that doesn't make sense, but why it will happen. This fridge doesn't make sense because it's a centralized system. So if you say this fridge has to understand what is inside it, it has to scan, it has to have a camera, it has to understand what it actually means, what is a dairy product, what is a hard product, it doesn't make sense. It makes much more sense to have each individual item in the fridge to be intelligent and then the fridge just be a screen. But we'll have it anyway. And in that sense, that does actually make a lot more sense than this vision that we all share of the connected fridge that everything is talked about. Let's talk about the internet for a second. So Internet 1.0, that was pretty skeuomorphic. That was in the 70s, 80s, right? And it enabled to do users to do mundane things in a digital way. So email was just writing letters, right? And chat was pretty much just a phone conference. And essentially a website was just some kind of a newspaper where everybody was a publisher and said, hey, well, look at what I think. The Internet 4.0, what it leads to, it will be a relationship. It will be a long-term relationship. It makes sense, right? If your user interface is a personality, then your user experience that you have with a personality is a relationship. And let's talk about a vision. We don't like Jarvis from Iron Man because he's so clever. We like him because he's a personality. And then you have to think about, currently we think about hardware as we get something, we get a gadget, we use it for 1 or 2 years, and then we get rid of it. Maybe we use it for 3 to 5 years. But this will be something now that, at least on a kind of connection level, will have to accompany us through different generations of. The question is, who designs those parameters? Who is in the business of designing those things that if you buy something, the personality it has actually matches the expectations of customers and clients and peoples? Well, it's very interesting, and the answer is relationship design will most probably be the next thing in digital. So there's this old thing that jobs we have now didn't exist 5 years ago. This will be a job that exists very soon. As usual, it will be a combination. It will be user experience design, but it also will be some community management in there and an ASCOD. So it's basically, they will be knowledgeable about human-centered design and human expectations, and also are able to kind of bring joy and almost like game design and game thinking, and they have to provide a feeling of kind of excitement as well. And basically that will be your future.